So I thought today I would film in this corner of my studio because it's peeing with rain out there. It's grey, it's wild, it's windswept. I went out this morning to get the ducks and the donkeys. Well, at least I didn't get the donkeys up because it's too wet. They've stayed indoors today, but the ducks and the chickens and the geese had to get out of their little beds. They're quite happy. They just run around. The chickens don't seem to mind if it's raining or not, and the ducks and the geese, well, they're just very happy if it's wet. So what I was going to talk to you about today was, apart from starting this off, okay, which I will go into with you shortly, there was a couple of things I was going to show you which I've just hidden from myself. Oh, here we go. This is how organised I am, honestly. I come down here and I just put the camera on and I start talking and I think, oh, is that what I was going to say? I've no idea. So before I get onto the landscape, I wanted to tell you what I've been doing, and I've mentioned it a couple of times in my last videos, is that I'm doing an online workshop. It's almost ready to kick off. I'm going to be, is she dropping one of the bits on the floor? I'm so professional, aren't I? We're going to be making a Christmas bauble. I don't know if you can see that very well. Perhaps if I hold it up like that so you can see it against the background. They're really lovely. Lots of free machine embroidery, and that's going to be up via my website on Friday. Honestly, it is. I'm busy finishing off the last few bits of it. It's been quite a job to do it all, but I've learned absolutely shed loads, and I'm really thrilled and excited to be offering this to you. It's going to cost £35, but you're going to get 4 videos in with that, and a downloadable PDF with all the instructions, plus you get a whole set of still pictures with instructions on exactly how to do this. And the idea really is just to have some fun making these little creatures here. If you're new to free machine embroidery, it's a great way to practice your free machine embroidery. If you're already an expert, well, you're going to knock these up in no time at all, and then maybe you'll go ahead and make your own version of them after you've made these first ones. So as I say, I'm very excited about that. I had hoped to get it up today, but it hasn't quite worked out. Today, however, in Be Creative magazine, those of you who get that, you might spot a familiar face, because there should be a 2-page spread on me and my lovely YouTube channel. I just have to say thank you so much for being here, because it's meant the world to me. I have started in my little studio, literally holding my phone, talking to it and saying about my studio, about my artwork and stuff, and it's just grown from there. I've now got a really good camera, and I am just loving the process of filming for you. I'm getting lots of lovely feedback saying that you're finding it inspirational and it's getting you doing things. Quite a few people have bought embellishing machines. I don't know why that would be. It's a little bit of a concern there, but quite a few second-hand ones out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't find one, just ask around. It's amazing how many people have those in their cupboards and not using them. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this wonderful creative process. I'm just loving the filmmaking, and you know, come along and make a bauble with me. It's going to be fun. So look on my website. There'll be a link on my website on Friday, and I may well pop back on here and put a little video up. I'm not sure. But that's where my time and energy's gone. It has been a lot of work, I can tell you. So this is why I haven't done a huge amount of stitching on here today. I'm just going to take it easy, really. My whole kind of ethos, which I will share with you, my whole philosophy on life these days, is that it should be simple and it should be easy. And if it starts to get at all stressful, if it starts to become a thing like, oh God, I've got to do a YouTube video today, it's not going to happen. As long as I'm feeling happy and relaxed, then I can be creative, and I think you must be the same, I'm sure. So one of my intentions with this YouTube channel is just to do that, just to show you some stuff, just to have some fun with some fabrics, some threads, and if that inspires you and gets you making something, that's great as well, because it's all good stuff. So I think I'll leave it there. I think that's enough for one day. I'm going off now to edit this and put it all together so that it's on my YouTube channel for tonight. It's Wednesday today, guys, and usually I film the week before so that I've got plenty of time for editing and faffing about. I'm a bit up to the wire today, but that's because I was doing my workshop thing yesterday, getting that all sorted out. So website Friday, workshop available. Go for it. I look forward to seeing you again soon here on my YouTube channel, which remains free. That's my other intention, is that this is a place of total freedom. It's free to you, and it's about freedom and finding your joy and your creativity along with me. This is just a quick re-look at what I did last time in my previous video. I had embellished all my strips of fabric down to create this landscape. What I've done since then, since I saw you last, I've added a little bit of the blue in across there because I just felt that needed a little bit of extra, and I'd embellished this little sample piece. You see how useful it is to try your fabrics out, and I thought I really wanted a bit of this sort of bluey colour into the sky. And the other thing I've done down at the bottom here is I've taken these off. I had these embellished on there, and then I realised, of course, that what I need to be doing is actually stitching these layers down first. So it's a sort of a process with all of these things. You have to work out what you're going to be stitching first. You know, some of these pieces perhaps needn't be on just yet, but I decided I would do the whole thing, and then I'm just going to stitch into it as it is. But it's, you know, it's how you decide to do it, really. Definitely I thought these bits needed to just come off so that they can be added on towards the end. It's a bit like, it's the same as painting, I guess. I'm not a painter, but I imagine that you have to build your layers up, and eventually you'll get to the point where you've got everything on that you require. So you'll see that I've actually got pins in here. Although I've embellished it, I've actually put pins in because on the back I've got a piece of stitch and tear, or whatever stabilizer you would like to use. It's just something that's got a bit of a stiffness to it, so that when I'm doing my free machine embroidery, I've got a little bit of something to hold on to. If I just had it on the calico like that, ooh, look at the back of that, that's fun, isn't it? I always forget when you turn it over, it's going to be a surprise. Anyway, so that's what it would be like otherwise. If I didn't put the stitch and tear on, it would be very floppy. Sometimes I do embellishing onto things like a piece of old blanket, which then has enough stiffness, but this needed a bit of stitch and tear on it, so that's what I've put on the back of there. Okay, so I'm going to take it over and get stitching. Okay, so here we are. This is my sewing machine. For those of you who haven't seen it before, this is my beautiful Pfaff sewing machine. It's very old. It's got lots of bits where the paint's coming off. You can see at the back here, this is where I've got some masking tape over it. So it's nothing fancy. I've got it set up for free machine embroidery. So I've got my darning foot on. I've lowered the feed dog teeth underneath. I've got the stitch length set to 0 because I'm controlling the stitch length, and I actually reduced my top tension a little bit because that's just what my machine likes. Every machine is different, so you have to kind of work with your machine to get it to do what you want it to do. Okay, so we're just going to set off next with some free machine embroidery. So I'm starting at the sky. I always start at one end and work down, which is usually the sky downwards if I'm doing a landscape. The pin out. I'm sure, a bit like painters, everybody has their own way of doing things. This is my way of doing a sky, where I just kind of do lines going across, it's to break up this big expanse of fabric. You can see the beauty of free machine embroidery is that I'm just moving the fabric where I want it to go, and the machine just goes up and down, and it just does what I want it to do. It's fantastic. You can move your fabric in any direction and create whatever shapes you want to. This is kind of my favourite free machine embroidery though, because it is very much free. I'm not trying to like outline seed heads or something tricky. I'm just doing stitching, and when I've done enough stitching I'll stop. And I will change the colours, according to what I'm trying to stitch. And as I said before, I'm working from the top down. I think that's probably enough for the sky. So let's just take that out, and there you go. So I don't know whether you can see that. If I turn the machine light off, there we are. That's better, isn't it? I'm sorry, I'm working with not very good light today outside. It's quite grey, and I try and do things as much as possible in natural light. So you can see that's just really added some texturing to the sky, some lines, as though the sky's got some life in it. So I'm going to change my threads now, and I'm going to work my way down, just holding everything in place. Okay, so I've changed my thread. I've got I think you can see it here, I've got like a turquoisey, dark turquoisey thread, dark bluey turquoise, to go with this bit of mountain here. What I tend to do is I tend to put the same colour thread onto the piece I'm stitching, or as close as I can get, just to start with, because often what I'm trying to do is create texture, and then what I'll do is I'll add other colours later on as sort of highlights. I think everything I do, like doing sampling, is to do with not being afraid of starting. Okay, so if you can creep up on what you're trying to stitch and what you're trying to make, if you just sneak up on it from the side, so that you don't get too scared of doing it. Because if I started out, I could, for example, I could be straight away putting something like this onto that turquoise, which I'm quite tempted to do, but that's a little bit scary. I'm not quite sure. I like to build up slowly. So as I say, I come at it from the side, I do it very quietly and gently, and then nothing gets frightened, and it means I do start. So start gently, do small steps, and gradually this piece will tell me what it wants to do. It will tell me where it wants to go, and it's like taking my head out of the process and just allowing the process to take me where it's going to go. So let's get some turquoise onto here. I don't know if you can see, I've already outlined it slightly by bringing the sky colour down. I tend to do this with landscapes, is I bring the colours together. So the turquoise and the purple, I will do turquoise and purple kind of along those lines. I feel as though it helps blend the colours. So I've brought a bit of this purpley, lilac-y sky colour down to the mountains. And what I will do is I will take some of this dark turquoise, and I'm stitching just beyond the mountains, because it helps the eye to sort of move through the picture, I think, if you're just giving it hints where you want the eye to go. So I'm not stitching the whole of this, and like with the sky, I'm kind of working top down. And I'll tell you what, if I can sew and stitch with a camera up my nose, which is basically where the camera is, in order to get you to be able to see what I'm doing, I've kind of got the camera right in front of me. I think anybody can do free machine embroidery. There's no excuse, ladies and gentlemen. If I can do it with a camera here. Oops, I'm just going to, that's the edge, that doesn't matter, that bit. So now I'm actually going to go over the edge of the purple with this. The purple's got a little bit frayed, but I'm not worried about that, because I can just do some free machine embroidery over the top of that. It's not a problem. And you see, that's me kind of sneaking in there with a contrasting colour straight away onto the maroony purple colour, and I've just sneaked it on there. I don't know if you can see it. Perhaps it's easier. Is it better with that off? No, it's not really better with that off, but I'll have to show you this at the end with some close-ups. I think it's sneaked the turquoisey colour. I'm just trying to show you here. It's kind of sneaked it there. It's sneaked it onto the purple, which is what I want. It's sort of blending, so you're not getting anything too stark. So I'm just going to keep working my way down this. I might show you some more as I go. I don't want to show you everything, because I think, you know, you might fall asleep. Fascinating though I think my stitching is. but I'll show you the interesting bits. For example, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this bit. It was very funny before I started. I actually wasn't sure I was going to start stitching it actually, because I think the embellisher did such a good job putting it all on here. So I will get back to you shortly. So thanks for joining me here. See you again soon. In fact, see you next week. That's all from Emma in my studio. Bye for now.